Hello once again. I welcome all of you on the behalf of NovelVista, and once again I repeat myself. In case you are facing any difficulty, please use the chat option to inform us if you find any difficulty in hearing us. Let me give you a quick brief about NovelVista. NovelVista is an accredited training organization and is an 8-year-old company. We provide trainings and certifications and have already trained more than 30,000 participants across various practices, processes, and technologies. Being one of the largest training organizations with a huge portfolio of more than 2,000 courses and a team of 300 plus trainers, we have always believed in knowledge sharing. And one of such initiatives is webinars, wherein we introduce our participants to industry experts. So let me quickly introduce our today's speaker, Mr. Ravi Mishra. Ravi is a PMP and Microsoft certified Azure multi-cloud architect, a seasoned professional having 10 plus years of experience in the field of networking, cloud computing, which comprises of AWS, Azure, and GCP, and technical management, which covers design, troubleshooting, implementation, deployment, and managing team. Ravi is very passionate about conducting trainings on various technologies like Azure, DevOps, Ansible, Terraform, Kubernetes, and so on. So I'll quickly hand over this session to Mr. Ravi, and I would request him to take this ahead from here. Ravi, can you hear me?
Yes, Vishal, thank you very much. Yeah, so let
I've just
me,
added you as a presenter, and you can request you to take it ahead from here, please.
yeah, sure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Very good morning, good afternoon, uh, good evening to all of you. You got a brief introductions about me. Let me again introduce myself and welcome all of you to this webinar. And I'm assuming like this webinar would be fruitful for you. So my name is Ravi, and I have almost 10 plus years of IT experience. And if I talk about the passionate, I used to conduct several trainings. I'm working as a speaker as well. I'm already a Microsoft certified trainer. So this is a brief about myself. So let's move ahead and continue with the session. Vishal, have you started recording of the session? Can I
Yes.
confirm? Okay, good. Thank you. Can I have a quick confirmation from all the participant guys? Like, you able to hear me? Okay, cool. Thank you. Perfect. Thank you very much, guys. That's enough. So once again, welcome to all of you. So in this sessions, I'm going to talk about Azure DevOps basically. So how you can implement the DevOps and how you can have the Azure DevOps as well. We'll try to understand that part. Okay, so let's move ahead and try to go ahead with that session. So this is the topic or the agenda what we are going to cover in this webinar. So we'll try to understand first the DevOps history. Then again, we'll try to understand about the introduction of the DevOps. We'll see the different types of the DevOps tools which is there into the market. We'll try to understand what DevOps can benefit to you or what DevOps can do for you. What is the actual role of a DevOps engineer? We will try to understand that part as well. We'll go deeper towards the Azure DevOps. We'll understand about the Azure DevOps, what exactly the Azure DevOps is. We'll try to understand the differences in between the Azure DevOps service or the server. What are all the options are there, and in what scenarios you can go ahead with the server, in what scenario you can go ahead with the service. After that, I'm going to brief you about the licensing, like how you can purchase the licenses of the Azure DevOps service. Then after that, I'm going to talk about the different types of the services, what is there in the Azure DevOps. And then we will have a short discussion or a kind of a small demo as well in terms of the board, as well as in terms of the Azure Repo. So this is all the agenda what we are planning to cover in this entire 1 hour of the sessions. And After that, like I think we'll be having a 10 minutes of the Q&A as well in this session. Let's move ahead. So if you talk about the history, so I'm already understanding, like most of you already had done some kind of the Googling, right, about the DevOps. So actually the DevOps started their journey in the year 2007. The guy or the engineer, you can say, the Patrick was the guy who started working on it. And if I tell you a brief, like necessity is the mother of the invention. So he was working as a tester, and he find uh, while doing the complete migration of his data center, it was very challenging to coordinate with the development team or the other teams as well. So he was finding that issues, and because of that, it suddenly strike to his mind like how or what can be done so that this gap can be fulfilled. So later in the 2008, he met with one of the guy named Andrew, and there he discussed his plan or the methodology or the concept about this DevOps. Basically, he proposed his idea, and then both of them combinedly worked and formed one discussion group. I can say. Later, again in June 2009, just Patrick was going through one of the this kind of the webinar, I can say, which was hosted by John and the Paul, and the webinar was 10 plus deploy a day dev and the ops cooperations at Flickr. So this was the webinar was there, and he gotten suddenly an idea from that, like this is the actual concept what he was looking and how it can be bring it to the everyone. So he just worked upon that one, and then he started forming groups, you can say, or bringing the people together. So this is how the journey of the DevOps was there. So you can say the father of the DevOps is Patrick. So he basically came up with that conclusion. After that, in March 2011, Cameron from the Gartner, he published about the DevOps strategy and the methodology, and so on and so forth. Every industry, every organization started using this DevOps, and they started cultivating more and more individual towards the DevOps practices and all. So this is a brief history about the DevOps, you can say, how the DevOps came into the industries and all. Now let's move forward. So if you see, let's have a quick introduction about the DevOps now. So what basically a DevOps means. So you must have seen a lot of time, like when you do a quick Google about the DevOps, you find infinity like a symbol is there. What basically that do? So it's having a representation of dev and the ops is there. So bringing the different teams together. So what basically the DevOps is doing for you? So it is doing something like this. You all have must have seen a lot of time like this. So this is the symbol is there for the dev. This is there for the ops. So actually this infinity what you see, right? So this symbols came, and why they have given this one? Because there is an infinite loop is there in this DevOps terminologies, you can say, or the symbol. Okay, cool. So this is just a brief you can see about the DevOps. So now this dev functionality, sorry guys. So this dev functionality, what you see, so it's a different team itself, right? And this there is an admin team or the ops team is there. So they all are working together parallelly. So this is a brief introduction about the DevOps. If you see here in my slide, I have mentioned about that only. It's a kind of a practice which is bringing a people together, and it is helping you out to perform very well. Okay, so it's a well-defined something I can say. When people are working closely or collaboratively, the productivity will increase, right? So that's a concept of the development and the operations is there in terms of the DevOps. These are all the tools you'll find. So it's very difficult for anyone to become a master in all the tools, but still I will prefer, or I will encourage every one of you to go ahead and start looking for different types of the tools what you see into the market. Okay, so there's one website is there which I'll quickly walk you through that as well. You'll go through that website, and there you'll find lots of the tools are there. You can read about those tools, like CI/CD tools are there, different versioning tools are there, right? So many tools are there. So DevOps basically is a combinations of so many tools which is bringing up together. And as an engineer, or as a what I can say, like as a IT engineers, basically you are supposed to utilize any one of these tools. Means multiple tools. Might be you'll be using some kind of the communications channel, might be you'll be using some kind of the CI/CD tools, might be you'll be having some kind of the source control tool. So if you see here in this slide, so many tools are there. I'm assuming like most of you already using some of the tools, like your cloud technology, or might be your Jenkins, Ansible, right? So if you see, so many tools are there. So PagerDuty, BlueJeans, Rackspace, correct? So every sections have lots of the tools. Now, let me quickly show you one thing. Like if you go here, let me show you. Ah, so if you go to this Plutora website, here you will find like so many tools are there. And if you really interested to learn about these tools, basically, so here you'll find the list as well. So different environment will have the different tools, basically, I can say. So if you see here the collaboration purpose, for the collaborative purpose, so you can go ahead and use all of these tools. For the communications, these are all the list of the tools are there. For the knowledge management, these are the list of the tools are there. Okay, so might be, I'm assuming, like might be you would be not knowing that you are using some of the tools, but which is coming under uh, like which is coming under the DevOps. Okay, so there are so many tools are there. So if you see here, so test, deploy, run, so configurations management tools are there, artifact tools are there, correct? So this is the website is there where you can go, and if you see this one, so it is adding a value to your organizations as well. So why these tools are coming as a part of the DevOps? So it is not something you can say like I'm not working onto the DevOps technology. No, you can't say something like this, because end of the day, some tools definitely you would be using it knowingly or unknowingly that that tool is coming under the DevOps. Okay, cool guys. So if you see, so lots of the different tools are there, so you can go. And the best thing of this website, what I like it is about this one. So if I want to learn about, let's say like about the Rackspace, suppose I can just simply click on this and it will give me a brief introductions about the Rackspace as well. So if you see this one, so I can go to their websites and I don't need to Google and all. I can quickly read about that particular technology or that particular tools from this valuable websites. So this is about the different types of the tools which you can see into the market. Azure DevOps is also one of the tool offering from the Microsoft Azure. Now, why we should go ahead and have Azure, means not Azure DevOps, why we should encourage everyone to go ahead and use the DevOps. So what is the benefit you can say, or what is the advantage of it? So advantage is you can deliver very fast, I can say. So the delivery or the improve, the things are getting improved as quick as possible. You would able to grab the things, you would able to deliver the things. So whatever the project or the things you would be working on it, you would able to work quickly on it, because you will be collaboratively working with the multiple teams, right? So you have, let's say like you don't have to wait for the developers, you don't have to wait for the operations team or the admin team to tell you what exactly need to be done and all, because you are already doing your part of the job. And definitely the input will be again coming from the development team, or if you are a part of the operation team, again that loop will be going here and there. So it's a basically helping you out with the high collaborations as well between your teams, between your cross-functional teams as well. So it is helping you out to get more feedbacks in terms of what the development of the product you are doing it out. So in terms of the customer experience, it is helping you out to improve as well. So it's more towards the practice of the agile or the scrum, I will say. Like you will able to um, means you will able to work parallelly on the feedback what you are getting it from the customers. In the early stage itself, if you already know or if you already practice some of the agile methodology, you must have seen like at the early stage itself, you able to detect some kind of the flaw, I can say, or some kind of the error or the bug, and quickly you will able to fix out that bug, and you can move forward as well. So let's say for an example, if you are working on one of the project and There is a team size of almost around 10 people are there. So all of them are trying to develop some kind of the product features or a software development they're trying to do. Now, constantly, like instead of waiting and getting it completed, and then after that, again, they are going into the rework phase of the work, what I can say. So again, they are going and then again, they are working on that same task. That doesn't make sense, right? So it's completely like investing of the everyone's time. So it's the best like here. So if this is a project is there, suppose, and if this is working, so it's better to take the feedback at the initial level itself. So some feedback is going, and based upon that, if some bug is coming there, then quickly it can be fixed out, right? So it's entirely helping you out to save a lot of the time. So time is getting saved here, so saving your time end of the day. Okay, good. So let's move ahead. So it's helping you out to have the continuous release and the deployment as well. It is helping you out to bring some kind of the innovative mindsets as well. Might be I'll be having something innovative in my mind. I can approach it. I can put it into my projects as well. So this is something the DevOps can do. There are many more things out there which DevOps can do for you. But in our industry or in our best practices, basically you'll find like these are some of the broad features are there or advantage of implementing a DevOps into your industry. I'm not getting your voice. Someone is saying like I'm not getting your voice. I'm audible, right, guys?
Yes, Ravi, you are audible. There are few cases wherein I guess then they're facing some network issues. That is why they're not able to hear you.
Okay. So it's not something from my end, right? So it's okay. So just let me know if there is something network fluctuation or something like that.
Surely.
Cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. Now, all of you would be thinking like when I joined any organization as a DevOps guy, basically, what could be my scope of work? What I can do or how I can contribute to an organizations, basically, right? So as a DevOps engineer or as a DevOps guy, basically you would be focusing more towards the continuous implementation or a continuous delivery. You would be more working in terms of the infrastructure side as well, in terms of the development side as well. So it is a kind of a mix and match role, you can say. Okay, so where let's say like I want to provision or I want to create certain virtual machines into the Microsoft Azure itself. So if I want to create it using the Azure DevOps or using some kind of the pipeline, right? So then definitely I should think for some kind of the automations. So being as a DevOps engineer, it would be my responsibility to come up with some kind of the automations concept. Let's say like I'm going to use the ARM template, or I would be using some kind of the Terraform as an infrastructure as a code. So I can use those things and bring the automations in the picture so that the whole of the infrastructures can get created. Okay, so that could be your role. And now when you are going towards the software development side, it is not something like you are going to full fledged going to do a hard coding, I can say, in terms of the software development. But yes, you need to know or you need to learn about the different types of the uh, languages as well. Like some kind of the scripting would be good or add on for you when you are going to get a DevOps role, basically, I can say. Okay, so if you see here, I mentioned quickly about the DevOps practice for the version controls. You have to look for that one. You have to look for the infrastructure as a code. You have to look for the configuration management. You have to look for the build, release. You have to look for the different types of the testings if you are doing it. So in DevOps, as a DevOps engineer or as a DevOps guy, basically you will be looking and working towards all these concepts, I can say. Okay, now let's move towards Azure DevOps. So now I'll give you a brief overview about Azure DevOps. So Azure DevOps is just a one kind of a tool, you can say. So just now we had seen lots of the different types of the tools into the market, which is there. So out of that, one of the tool is Azure DevOps. Azure DevOps tool is very famous into the market, and it is right now very demanding as well, I can say. So when I'm saying the Azure DevOps, don't get confused with it. It is just a tool. Okay. So this tool is a software as a service, you can say, and it is providing you, or it is helping you out to have an end-to-end delivery. You can get it from that Azure DevOps. So people are just creating some kind of the word, I can say, like people are thinking that Azure DevOps means they need to learn about the different other tools as well, Jenkins, Git, and all, right? No, it's not true. So Azure DevOps itself is just a separate identity tool. It's a separate tool itself. It's having their own identity. Okay. And as I mentioned, it is having why it is having so much demand into the market. It is helping you out to integrate your different other tools, I can say. So let's say, like, if I want to integrate with the Ceph, or I want to integrate with the GitHub, I want to integrate with the Travis, or I want to integrate with the Puppet. So I can do that integrations as well. So Azure DevOps is having those flexibility as well. So in terms of the scalability, in terms of the reliability, in terms of the other tools which is there in the DevOps industry, Azure DevOps is standing at par, you can say. It's a far beyond the level of the other tools, you can say. Okay. Now in Azure DevOps, there's two things are there, or two concept is there, which I can say, or segregations, you can say. So one is your Azure DevOps service. Another one is your Azure DevOps server. Now the question is coming, like, in what scenario I should go ahead and choose the Azure DevOps service. As I mentioned about that, so Azure DevOps service is a cloud offering solution is there. Okay. So if you see, we are going to talk about the Azure DevOps service. I'm not going to talk anything about the Azure DevOps server. Okay. So if you see here in the Azure DevOps service, what I mentioned, like, it's a cloud offering solutions. It's a SaaS product from the Microsoft Azure. So it's helping you out to perform your DevOps related stuff, you can say, and it is having an SLA of almost 99.9% is the SLA is there. There is a 24/7 operation team is there, which is helping you out if you find any issues in terms of the in terms of what I can say, like in terms of Azure DevOps software or service, you can simply raise a case with the Microsoft. They will help you out to get your things fixed out. Coming to the comparison of this Azure DevOps server, so in feature wise, both of them are doing the same thing. Both of them are same almost. Only the difference is this: in the server, you are owning the responsibility of it. So when you are saying a server, that means definitely, like, you will be having an overhead of your server management, right? So let's suppose you have the servers, and now what you are going to do is, on top of that, you are going to install that Azure DevOps softwares, you can say. Now this server, what this VM, what you are hosting, wherever you are hosting in your on premises, right? So it's need to be get maintained or managed by you. So all the things inside that Azure DevOps servers, in terms of the infrastructures, you only would be the responsible to maintain or manage it. Whether I want to do any kind of the update management or any kind of the patch installations, everything related to the servers need to be taken care by you only. So that's the thing is there. In your Azure DevOps service, as I mentioned, it is something which is taken care by the Microsoft itself. Cool. Any doubt? So far so good, guys. Okay, thank you. So just now I explained you the differences in between this. So if you see here, as I mentioned, like, if you want to use the Azure DevOps server, and if you don't want to expose your things, like if you are looking for some kind of the privacy, then what you can do, you can go ahead with the Azure DevOps server. Okay, so most of the finance organizations or the banking domain organizations, they used to prefer this Azure DevOps server. But the functionality wise or the feature wise, you'll find all of them, both of them are giving you the same thing. Only the add-on or the overhead burden is coming to you in terms of the server management, in terms of the SQL server. You can say the database part is also there. So that is also coming as an overhead to you in Azure DevOps server. Okay. So if you want to have a more detailed information about the server and this, you can simply go on Google and search about this Azure DevOps server. There are many different are there, guys. So I just highlighted few of the, one of the key differences is there. But if you quickly go to this docs.microsoft.com, so here you'll find about this part. So if you see in terms of the scope, in terms of the authentications, in terms of the users, groups, right? So these are all the technical differences are there, which you can go in depth and you can study from this place. So this is the URL is there. If you want, I'll give you this URL as well, guys. And let me send it across to all of you. Okay, and I given you this as well, the URL for so this as well, so that you can go and have a look. Okay, good. Now let's go ahead, continue with our slide. So just now I told you the differences in between the DevOps service and the DevOps server. Moving forward, let's go ahead. So this is a very important concept is there because you must be thinking whether do I need to pay anything if I want to use this Azure DevOps. So Azure DevOps service basically. So answer is somewhere somehow it is free as well. Somehow somewhere you have to pay as well. So this is the licensing concept is there. So in Azure DevOps they are defining the licensing in terms of the individual service space as well as the another one concept is the user licenses. So on the basis of the number of the users in your organizations who is going to work on this Azure DevOps tool basically with regards to your project, you are going to evaluate or you are going to buy the licenses accordingly. Okay, so if you see on my left hand side what I mentioned about the individual services, so in terms of the services Microsoft is giving you an options in terms of the Azure pipeline, in terms of the Azure artifact. I'm going to talk about this Azure pipeline artifact and all. As of now, just understand like it is one of the service offering inside the Azure DevOps tool. Okay, so if you see here on my left hand side, there is one free Microsoft hosted CI/CD tool is there that is free for you. There is one free self-hosted CI/CD tool is there, like which you can use it like pipeline point of view, you can use that one. What is the self-hosted and Microsoft hosted pipelines basically? If you go and do a quick Google, you'll able to understand something you can simply understand in this way, like Microsoft hosted in the sense it is something provided by the Microsoft itself. And if you are talking about the self-hosted, so it is something which you have to build it or you have to form that particular pipeline, and in order to run that pipeline you might be required some kind of the agent or some kind of the softwares, right? So that is something defined under this self-hosted. So if you see like how many minutes you can run it out in terms of the free, you are getting almost 1800 minutes per month you can run your pipeline. And then after that, if you are running any kind of the parallel jobs, it is going to cost you something around uh, $20-30 you can say, almost around $25 you can say. So this is overall about the licensing, like how you are going to procure the licenses from the Microsoft point of view in terms of the Azure DevOps. So in terms of you see this Azure artifact. So artifact is just a kind of the repository you will say, or a package management where you are dumping or where you are putting your all the different types of the packages, let's say like npm packages there. Or why we are using this as well, like we are using this artifact so that the packages which I'm building it out can be used by the n number of the other resources as well. Okay, so that's the basically concept is there, and what you are getting it for free, you are getting 2 GB for free. Make sense? After that, if you move on my right hand side, I discussed about the user licenses. So depending upon the different, depending upon the number of the users who is going to work into this Azure DevOps tools. So based upon that, you can procure the licenses from the Microsoft Azure. Okay. So it's hardly costing you almost around $6 per user per month. So that's the billing is there when you're going ahead with the basic plan. And if you are looking for some kind of the testing service as well, then you will be required to pay almost around 70, like $50 almost. Cool. So these are all the on the basis of this, you are calculating your licenses for the Azure DevOps service. But when you are saying, let's say like I have shown you the DevOps service licensing, but what about the if you are going to get the Azure DevOps server? So if you go to Azure DevOps server, so there is a separate licensing part is there, which I haven't defined it into my slide. But yes, if you go and search it, you'll get to know about that. So this is the concept you will say here. So Azure DevOps server. So this is, you are just paying. You can either pay per month or you can pay, you see here, you can buy the classic software license for the 3 years and all. So you just one time kind of the investment you are doing it in terms of the Azure DevOps server. But in terms of this service, it's kind of the monthly plan. Okay, this is the concept of licensing. So how you can procure it or how you can decide like how many licenses I needed and all, you can get from this page. Okay, good. Okay, just hold on guys, 1 second. Okay, so just now I talked about the licensing. Let's move forward. And if you see in my slide as well, I just mentioned about this same concept which I told you, right? So what all things you can have it for free, it's clearly mentioned here. So anyone who want to learn about the Azure DevOps tool, directly go ahead and start playing with it. Like simply for individual point of view, it is very easy. You can go ahead and start working on it. So you don't need to think about any kind of the licenses because up to 5 users, it's free, right? So you can go ahead and you can run the job, you can play with it, you can do whatever you want from that. I'll quickly try to show you as well, like what is the URL or how you can access that particular um, uh, DevOps tool service, basically, I can say. So I'll show you that part as well. So in order to know about the pricing, this is the URL is there. You can go to this azure.com/pricing/details and /DevOps. It will give you a detailed information about the pricing, the one which I just now I shown to you. Uh, Now let me quickly tell you the path. So basically, once you're done with your, let's say like, what is the prerequisite is there? The prerequisite is just you should have the Microsoft account. So Microsoft account in the sense you just go ahead and do a quick sign up onto the Microsoft website. Either you create your live account or either you create your Outlook account. That will do for you. After that, just you have to type this one. So dev.azure.com. So this is enough. If you type this dev.azure.com, that's enough. So after that, it will ask you to log in, right? Just provide your credentials and then you are good. Like you can simply go ahead and start using that DevOps service or tool, basically. I'll give you this URL. I can see some questions. Let me take, uh, just hold on. So in our company, we use which one? Chandramita. So Chandramita, as I mentioned, it all depend upon in which type of organizations you are working, right? So I given you an example, like if you are working for banking or finance, right? So definitely they would be going ahead and using the Azure DevOps server. So they would be thinking about the managing part of that Azure DevOps tool. So they would be going ahead with that part. I'm not sure about that, like in which company you are working and how they are maintaining it out, but most of the organizations nowadays, they are preferring to go ahead with the Azure DevOps service. Which one is less cost? Gaurav, for this one, what I can say, like, see, it's all depend how you are calculating your cost. Okay, so if you will say like, if the server cost and the license of that DevOps as well, if you are including it, then definitely like the thing which you are maintaining it in your on premises or thing which you are maintaining it as a server, definitely it will be costly for you, right? uh, just hold on guys, 1 second. Okay, Gaurav, I think I have answered your question. Is it necessary to learn all the tools to become a DevOps engineer? As I mentioned, because no, it's not possible for an individual to be expertise or to learn all the different types of the DevOps tools which is there into the market, right? So try to choose some of the tools which is relevant to you as per your job. Try to learn about that one. That is enough. And if you are learning the Azure DevOps, that is combination of the multiple tools, you can say. So it's a good enough for you. Sumit, I don't think so there is any sound problem. Another questions, I'll take it and then we'll continue, guys. Why would one buy individual service versus user license? Okay, so he is answering to this question. So basically, see, you need to think in terms of, let's say, uh, how you want to use individual, in the sense it is defined in terms of the services. Okay, so what service you are trying to use it in the Azure DevOps, that is defined under that. Both you have to combine both of them. Okay, so it is not something you can take one of it, like, okay, I'll go ahead and take the individual service license. No, the license is going to come up with the combination of both of this. One is individual service, another one is the depending upon the number of the users who is going to work on this tool. Okay. So Salim, I already answered to you. So normal DevOps tools and the Azure DevOps tools is the difference is this. So Azure DevOps is a combination of the multiple other tools as well. So you can do the multiple things, like you can do the CI/CD, you can do the repo, everything is there. I will talk about the services quickly about it. But yes, so when you talk about the different open sources or different other types of the DevOps tools, you'll find like you have to bring the different types of the licenses. Let's suppose if you go uh, as I mentioned here, if you go here and try to get, let's suppose I'm saying about the Bitbucket, right? If I want to procure the licenses of the Bitbucket, then I have to go ahead and buy the different licenses here. So all these are different vendors, right? So they are giving their own softwares on product. So they're all selling their own products. So if you see this Jira, so I want Jira, then I have to buy that separate licenses from that vendor itself. But in Azure DevOps, you are getting combinations of multiple tools together at one place. I can say like it's a single shop for your shopping. So one stop solution. Why we move Azure DevOps? Which one has more module in it? What is this question, Krishna? And why we move to Azure DevOps? Why we move to Azure DevOps in the sense? Can we migrate Azure DevOps server to the services? Yeah, like whenever you want, you can decide, and with the help of the Microsoft, you can take it ahead. So you can do it. Which all applications are mandatory to start with Azure DevOps? Nikhil, okay, let me do one thing, guys. Let me quickly continue with the sessions, and then possibly I'll take a couple of the questions, and then I'll try to answer it. Okay, let's continue first. Let's try to see what are all the things we have, and then we will discuss about the questions Q&A part. So what are all the different services Microsoft Azure DevOps is offering to you? So if you see, there is Azure Board is there is Azure Pipeline is there is Azure Repo is there is Azure Artifact is there, Azure Test Plan is there. Now, if you talk about these services, right, these blocks of the services, what I have mentioned here, and if you try to compare with the any other DevOps tools, for each and every service, what you are getting it here, you have to procure a separate licenses from the other vendors. So suppose I'm saying about the Azure board, might be you will be working on the Jira. So Jira board is a separate tool itself. It is maintained or managed by your Atlassian, right? So you have to buy that Jira tool from that vendor itself. Now if I'm comparing with the Azure DevOps, I'm directly getting it here itself. Why I'll go ahead and spend additional money and give it to the uh, like Atlassian or Jira? Why I'll do it, right? So I'm getting it here itself. Now, when you think about the pipeline, so there is a CI/CD pipelines are there here itself in the Microsoft Azure DevOps. So why I will go ahead and take the other CI/CD tools like Travis is there, or Circle CI is there, or any other different types of the tools are there? Why I'll buy from them? I'm getting it directly here itself, right? Azure Repo, why I'll go ahead and take the enterprise licenses of the GitHub or Git? Why I'll do that part? I'm getting it directly from the Azure DevOps itself. Make sense? If you see about the artifact, why I'll go ahead and get it from the npm or the different vendors who manage the artifact. There are a list of the vendors are there who maintain the artifact, right? So I'm getting it directly from the Microsoft. So that's all the advantages there. So if you are learning the Azure DevOps, that is way too good for you to understand the concept, or way too good for you to go deep and deep in terms of the DevOps part. So if you do see the test plan, why I should go ahead and have the Q unit or N unit or U unit of the testing part, Selenium testings and all, right? I can have something from the Azure DevOps itself. Make sense, guys? So because of that reason only, the Microsoft Azure DevOps is increasing exponentially, I can say. The demand of the Microsoft Azure DevOps is increasing day by day because of all these things. So just now I explained about all the concept what you see, like Azure board is there, Azure pipeline is there, Azure repo is there, Azure test plan is there, Azure artifact is there, right? So all the functionality has been mentioned. Like board can do what for you? It can put a track record for you, all the things what you are doing, your work item and everything. Pipeline will be helping you out with the CI/CD part of it. Repository is helping you out to maintain the code. If you want to have the, if you want to put your code somewhere, what you can do, you can put it into the Azure repo. Test plan, as I mentioned, if you are doing some kind of the testing on your code, you can use this test plans as well. Artifact, as I mentioned already, it's a package which is helping you out to share it with the other participants or other team members as well. So if you want, just create a package and then send it or get it, just send it to the other team members as well. So artifact is just kind of a storage, you can say, or a package management. This is about the Azure board. We are going to quickly see about the Azure board as well, like what exactly it is there. We are going to discuss about that part. So if you see here in the Azure board, there is a Scrum, there is a Agile, there is a different types of the work items are there which you can create it. Okay. So board means it is just helping you out with the tracking of the work items or the task which you are doing it. So Scrum Master, you must have seen like what type of the job he is doing. He must be asking you the different questions or the task or the activities which you are doing it, right? So that can be maintained or managed at the single window itself. That's a Azure board. So this is how your Kanban board look like. So Kanban board will have the list of the task, okay, number of the task what you have taken, and what is the status of that task as well. So you are defining that status, whether it is in progress, whether it is in to-do list, whether it's been done. So you'll mention something like this. This is about the Azure repo, as I already mentioned. So Azure repo is helping you out to maintain your code repository, right? So you can maintain, it's a distributed repository. So in repository, in Azure repo or in any repository, basically there is a two concept. One is a mono and another one is a distributed. So this is the concept of the centralized, basically, not mono, I'll say centralized and the distributed. So centralized is one place solution, something like that. And here we are using the this one, like distributed one. So before I take your questions and answers, let me quickly show you something and then we'll take the questions. So this is how it will look like. Okay, guys. So once you log in dev.azure.com, so and just go ahead and create your account, sign in. It will ask you to create one organization, create that one, and then you are good. Like you can simply log into it, create the project. This is how it will look like. It will have all this services which I mentioned. Like if you see, there is a board is there, there is a repo is there, there is a pipeline is there is a test plan, there is an artifact is there. Okay. Now coming to this, like if you see the board, so once you create, the board will look like this. So work item, different types of the task or the activities which you are planning to do, you can see it from here, something like this. So this is how you see this. So this is how your board will look like, right? So you can simply go and create that work items, what I want. So if you see here, if I want, I am saying like, I want to do some kind of testing. So I can do that. Done. So this is the work item got created. This is how the work item getting created. And then after that, you can simply assign it. Suppose your name is there, just choose whoever want to get assigned, just get it assigned. And after that, if you see here, doing done, this is the Kanban board. So if I am doing it, I'll take that one and I'll drag and drop. So this is the board is there. This is how it work. So if you're done with it, just move it to the next lane. If you move it like that, you can move it and place it wherever you want. So once you are doing with some kind of the user story or some kind of the task, you can quickly go and move it in this way. Now coming to this point, so if you see here, like Azure board has having different work items. So in what scenario I can choose which type of the work items is written clearly here. Just let me open that. Okay. So if you quickly go to the documentations, and if you see here, there is a work items are there. So different, I can say, like if you see this, so work item means just understand in this way, like the task or the activity which you are doing it. So someone should trace your activity, right? So where I will show that, okay, I had performed this job, or I have done this part of the activity in that particular development or that product. So I can define under this work item. So agile process, basic, scrum, or the CMMI process is there. So different process have the different types of the work items. So if you see in the agile, it's epic, features, user story, task. Similar way, if you go to the basic, you'll find like there is a epic, issues, task is there. So this is the way of defining your work item or the activity or the task which you are planning to do. Moving to the scrum, if you are going to follow the scrum process, right, if you're going to follow the scrum agile methodology, you'll have the work items in this way: epic, features, product, backlog item, task, and then the epidement is there for the issue tracking. Similar way, if you are choosing a CMMI process, right, so you can do it something like this. So how to choose this one? So basically when you are creating this project, so I have already created a couple of the projects. So if I want to create a new project here you will get that option. You see this? So I'm getting to choose what type of the work items I want to have it. I can do, means I can take that one. Clear? Okay. So I had already created this. So this is the one, how it look like to you. And if you want to see the backlogs and all, you would able to see this informations quickly from this page. Okay. So this is about the board. This is how your board will look like. And if you are maintaining or managing some kind of agile practice, you are doing it. So if you have the scrum calls and all, then you can go and have the sprint. So this is the sprint board is also there, which you can prepare it. So whatever activity you are doing it, just move it or add it, whatever the new items is there. This is the sprint durations are there. If you see this is the sprint. Okay. So this is how you can define the sprint and all, and create it, put your work items, and your Scrum Master will be running this sprint basically. So that's all about a brief about the board, guys. And now if I quickly discuss about this repo. So if you see here in the back end, it is using a Git repository. So if you see how you can create, so simply you can create it with the new repository here. So I can mention, like, let's say like testing testing repo. If I'll create it, I can add that one. If I'll create, it will be like this. So now it got created. Now whatever I want, so suppose I want to clone it on my local machines, I can clone that one simply using this one. Okay, so I can clone it with the different types of the IDE as well. So Microsoft is, Azure DevOps is giving you an options to integrate with the uh, different IDE tools as well. So you can copy that one and then you can start working on it. So if you are good with a Git, so you will able to work on this Git pull, push, commit, everything what you see, right? So it all coming under the Azure repo, I can say. So that's the benefit of using the Azure DevOps service rather than going ahead and buying an individual tools for each and every activity. Okay, guys. So that's all I have. And now we can take some questions. So
Thanks a lot, Ravi.
Vishal, do you want that we should unmute someone to speak if someone having some questions, or shall we see the chat and just respond?
Yeah, we can respond from the chat, I would suggest. And
Just can you make me a presenter, please? Just hold on.
yeah,
Yeah, please. Thank you. Okay. So, guys, just I mentioned about this part, right? The repo and all, right? So you can go ahead and you can clone it, and you can use the forking and all the branching and all. If it's all are there in terms of the repository, you can do more of it. So, questions, and if you want to get connected to me, you can connect me on LinkedIn. So this is my ID, right? Thank you, all of you. So we can take some questions if you have. Let me, shall we unmute some of the guys, Vishal, or how is it? Or shall I answer the questions which has been mentioned? It's so many questions
Yeah,
are there.
if there are so many questions, maybe we won't be able to answer each one
Answer
of
all
them.
of them, right?
Yeah,
Okay. So let's
so take
take
this.
some randomly. Okay. So
Yeah.
thank you, guys. I really appreciate all of your time, which you have given to us and given us an opportunity to drive this session and giving you a brief about Azure DevOps. There is a lot more things out there. It's not something which can be done in 1 hour of the session itself, but still, uh, at least you'll get an idea. Now you can start working into that direction. Now let me take a couple of the questions. What I can take, let me take randomly some of the questions. How much duration will it take to hand over Azure? Hand over Azure? I didn't understood that point. Difference in between AWS and Azure. Tota, I think you can just do a quick Google, guys. Can there be any integrations need with other appliances? Yes. Swami, yes, there is a different integrations are there which you can do it with the Azure DevOps. Can I use Azure DevOps without using any other Azure DevOps tools? Yes, Tapan, you can use that one. Is there a way to change the Kanban board with our own status? Yes, you can do that, Venkat. So if you want, let's say doing, done, to do, right? Rather than writing, you can write your own as well. It's up to you. You can design your own Kanban board. Uh, More in terms of the pipeline too, how to create the pipeline. Can I use Azure DevOps without using any other tools? Tapan, I already answered. Varun, for that one, how to create the pipeline and all. Uh, right now, it's something would be too much, so won't able to have it, but definitely might be in future. If we will be conducting something, then definitely I'll be happy to show you that part. Okay, so I missed the sessions, no problem. Azure service for containers. Varun, do we have Azure service for containers? Yes. In Azure, if you are going and discussing about the Azure container instance or Azure container registry, the service is there for the containers. Okay, so you can use, and even you can bring or you can deploy on your Dockers as well using this pipelines what Microsoft Azure DevOps is giving to you. Apart from cloud platform, what are the difference between TFS and Azure? What is that? I forgot. Uh, I can't see your questions. Azure board versus Kanban board. Pratik, I think just now I explained that to you. Can we switch from Office 365 to AWS? It's up to you, right? Any other questions? Any interesting questions? I can see when we use the work item in Azure DevOps, multiple persons can update the work items. But can we update the history? Like we can changes made in the GitHub. In the work items, basically, see, you can maintain or manage the access level. Varun, you can maintain, let's say, like the work items need to be get created by your Scrum Master only, or the person who is working on it. So you can maintain that level of the access so that the other person will not have the access to create the work item. Okay, so by that way you can maintain that one. uh, I have SAP server hosted in my DC. What changes I SAS to have it used? Somnath. So for the SAP point of view, we are just talking about the Azure DevOps, not specific to the SAP. So you can perform some kind of the migrations and all, right? We'll take the latest questions. Does Azure has any real-time monitoring systems like CloudWatch and log checking tool integrated? Azure is having that one. Okay. So right now we are discussing about the Azure DevOps. So if you're having any questions specific to the Azure DevOps, please put that one. What exactly is it 400 exam is all about? What is expected? Could you please explain? So if you go on the Google and search for it, you'll get that certification track, guys. So certification track is already published by the Microsoft. So you can go and find for the Azure like AZ 400 certifications, you need at least either administration, either 203 certification, either 103 or 203 certification. Vishal, are you there?
Sorry, Ravi, I lost you in between. Hello.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, I'm saying like now it's over to
Mhm.
you. If you have anything, go ahead, please.
Yes, I guess there are a lot of questions coming up, and with the time constraint, we won't be able to answer each one of them. Uh, So I would suggest to wrap it up here. I would like to thank you for such an amazing session. This was really insightful, and I'm pretty much sure that all of the participants would have found this fruitful and would have, of course, gained more knowledge from this webinar. So this webinar initiative, as I said earlier, this is an ongoing activity, and now that we are facing this lockdown issue and we have extended our webinars as a response to the COVID-19 pandemic. And as you can see on my screen, these are the upcoming webinars for the next couple of weeks. And you can register yourself on the link mentioned. And you can simply register by sending us a ping on WhatsApp as well on the mentioned number. And lastly, I would like to thank all of you for joining this webinar. We'll look forward to connect with you in near future. I would say thanks a lot, Ravi. Thanks for this webinar.
Thank you very much, Vishal, for arranging this out, and thank you everyone for your time. Appreciate. Thank you, Manish. Thank you very much. Catch you all, guys. See you all. Bye.
All right. Thank you. Stay safe, stay at home, and get upskilled. Thank you.
Sure.